Thank you, Senator Faruqi. Senator Henderson.
Thank you very much, Madam Acting Deputy President. It's my great pleasure to rise and speak on the Family Assistance Legislation Amendment, Improving Assistance for Vulnerable and Disadvantaged Families Bill 2020. And I want to start my contribution by noting with some concern the contribution of Senator Faruqi. And while Senator Faruqi made a number of statements critical of our government's support for families and for childcare, she didn't really reference any facts. And we are interested in the facts, and the facts of the matter are that around 1 million Australian families who are balancing work and parental responsibilities are benefiting from this package. And at the moment in this country, 72%, Senator Faruqi, 72% of families pay no more than $5 per hour in daycare centres. We have monumentally reformed childcare in this country, and of that 72%, Senator Faruqi, within that subset, 24% pay no more than $2 per hour. And we reject the proposition, which the Greens did not speak up about a number of years ago, where families earning $1 million and more were being subsidised with their childcare payments.
Just a moment, Senator Henderson. Senator Gallagher.
Madam Acting Deputy President, point of order. I believe the senator should be making her comments through you rather than directed at any particular senator in this chamber.
Thank you. Please direct your comments through the chair.
Thank you very much. And through you, Acting Madam Deputy President, I reiterate my concern about the Greens' position and the distortion of the fact, because the fact is that this government is providing record funding for childcare. By 22-23, $9.9 billion. And Australians listening to that contribution would not actually know that the most disadvantaged families in our country receive a rebate of 85% of their childcare costs. So what our government has done is fundamentally change the way families are supported by directing the greatest amount of support to families who need it the most. We reject the proposition that the same level of subsidy should be provided to families earning very high wages. We don't think that's fair. And why is it the Greens have not addressed this issue? So the fact of the matter is that when you make a contribution, when the Greens make a contribution on this issue, they should be candid with the Australian people as to what we are doing. And we are also proudly, as part of our reform of childcare, we are also proudly preventing $3 billion of taxpayers' money from being claimed as part of the very strong stance that we have taken against fraudulent behaviour. So I am very proud of the way our government is supporting families, of the way our government is supporting the most disadvantaged families, and that is a fact. And it is also regrettable that in this—
Thank you, Senator Henderson. Please resume your seat. Senator Brockman.
Acting Deputy President, interjections are always disorderly, and from that end of the chamber we have constant interjections through this second reading contribution from Senator Henderson. I would bring the matter to your attention.
Interjections are disorderly, and a senator has the right to be heard in silence. Senator Henderson, please resume.
Thank you very much, Acting Madam Deputy President. It's also regrettable that Senator Faruqi did not mention, in fact, that our relief package, the Family Assistance Legislation Amendment, Improving Assistance for Vulnerable and Disadvantaged Families Bill 2020, before the Senate now for debate, in removing in adopting the $708 million transition package, in making all employees of childcare centres eligible who are currently working, she did not address the fact that 1/3 of childcare workers working in Australian childcare centres are not currently eligible for JobKeeper. Now, we have been criticised for that, but now that this issue is being remedied because we're providing a new wave of support, this is something that the Greens have suddenly forgotten to mention. But the fact of the matter is that casuals who've been working for a childcare centre for less than 12 months, visa holders and other people who are not currently eligible for JobKeeper are eligible for this new transition package. And as I say, it is regrettable that that very important point has been conveniently overlooked by the Greens in the contribution that we just heard. So the childcare relief package before the Senate today will keep 99% of childcare centres open. And we know how difficult this has been. This pandemic has been so traumatic for families, has caused so many issues in our community, has put families under such pressure, and those who run childcare centres, when the numbers dropped away dramatically, our government took immediate action to keep those centres open by providing free childcare. And we are now working to give childcare centres the support they need, but importantly childcare workers the support they need. So our $708 million transition package will provide 25% of fee revenue, and that's 25% of the existing hourly rate cap, whichever is lower, during the relevant reference fortnight. The last two payments scheduled for September 2020 will be brought forward. Childcare fees will be capped, and services need to guarantee employment levels by maintaining the same average number of employees. And the activity test will be relaxed until the 4th of October 2020 to assist families whose employment has been impacted by COVID-19. Again, a further concession to make sure that we're doing everything we can to support families, and that's so families impacted by COVID-19 can receive up to 100 hours of subsidised childcare per fortnight during this transition period. There is also a very significant gap fee waiving when services are forced to close on public health advice as a result of COVID-19, and that gap fee waiver has been extended to the 31st of December. It's also important to point out that Victoria, and we know, Madam Acting Deputy President, how much pressure many Victorian families under at the moment with very extreme restrictions, stage 4 restrictions applicable in Melbourne at the moment. Essential workers are struggling to find the childcare that they need, and so we are providing, as a government, additional support for Melbourne, some $33 million of additional support. So Melbourne services will receive a higher transition payment of 30% and may also be eligible for a top-up where the childcare subsidy is received, and that, of course, depends on the attendances at a childcare centre. So Victorian families will get an extra 30 days of allowable absences, a total of 72 days. All services subject to stage 3 or higher restrictions, so stage 3 is applicable to regional Victoria, can waive gap fees if children are not attending and absences are claimed, allowing enrolments to be maintained and the childcare subsidy to be paid. Outside hours school care services in Victoria will also receive an additional viability support payment of 15% of their revenue if attendances have fallen by 40%. On average, the government expects that services in Melbourne receive between 80% and 85% of their pre-COVID revenue. So we understand, Madam Acting Deputy Speaker, that childcare centres need incredible support at this time. The relief package with JobKeeper was a temporary measure. It did keep the very large majority of childcare services open. But as I mentioned, with 1/3 of educators not eligible for JobKeeper, educators and services asked for a more equitable arrangement. That's what they asked for, and that's why the the bulk of the childcare industry is supportive of these measures. So the $708 million transition payment, which is 25% of the services revenue on top of the $8.9 billion per year childcare subsidy and the many other top-up payments, is replacing what we had in place before in relation to JobKeeper. The transition package will see services receive the majority of their pre-COVID revenue, even while their attendance is low. So the support is very much on par with what they were receiving previously, but very, very importantly, 1/3 of childcare workers who were previously not eligible are now being supported. A condition of receiving the transition payments, and this is a very important point to make, is that there will be an employment guarantee where the childcare service is required to maintain the same average number of employees. So these payments going to childcare centres can't be just pocketed by childcare centres. They must be passed on, and there must be that employment guarantee. And that will, of course, ensure the viability of childcare centres, and also to make sure that childcare workers are receiving the support that they need. So I commend this bill to the House, Madam Acting Deputy President. This is another example of how our government is working so incredibly hard to support families at this time. We acknowledge that in every sector of the economy, families, small businesses, sole traders, young people, students, so many Australians are under pressure. And as a member of the Morrison government, I am incredibly proud of the support that we are providing. Support that represents in excess of more than $300 billion in payments. Under JobKeeper, for instance, payments are rolling out for the $100 billion JobKeeper program, the $1,500 per fortnight wage subsidy, which of course flows through until September. JobSeeker, we're paying a supplement at a rate of $550 per fortnight. We recognise the extraordinary impacts this is having on mental health, on social isolation. You know, many families who live with spouses and children are getting by, but we also recognise that many Australians are living on their own, and they are effectively locked in their houses on their own, and that social isolation can lead to some dramatic consequences, and that's why our mental health and wellbeing pandemic response plan includes a very substantial investment for mental health. And in my own region that I proudly represent, my Senate office is based in Geelong. There's been a very traumatic number of suicides involving young teenagers, and we've made a commitment for a special suicide prevention program of in excess of $500,000 just to support young people and school students, because we recognise that when you cut anyone off from their friends, from their family, stop them playing sport, stop them connecting, it can have very, very drastic consequences. We acknowledge at the moment that stage 4 restrictions are causing a huge impact on the Australian economy, an impact that will cost the Australian economy some $10 to $12 billion, and I've spoken out about my concerns that in relation to the restrictions that they must be justified and they must only be as necessary as required to combat this terrible pandemic. Treasury estimates job losses in Victoria of up to $400,000 as a result of what we are enduring at the moment. So I say to all Australians, as a member of the Morrison government, led by our magnificent Prime Minister, who is working night and day in conjunction with the leadership team, in conjunction with the National Cabinet, to get Australians through this, I am incredibly proud of the way that our government is supporting Australians, and the that have been set out in this bill evidence further support for families. I just want to finish off my contribution by reminding anyone listening or reading this speech in Hansard that 24/7 help is available. The National Coronavirus Health Information Line is 1800 020 080. Of course, if you are suffering from any mental health or illness or challenges, please don't forget Lifeline, Beyond Blue, 1800 RESPECT, of course, if you've got any particular concerns about family violence. Right across this economy, we are working incredibly hard, including for families, including for childcare centres and childcare educators, and I commend this bill to the Senate. Thank you.